Hello, I'm Juran, Executive Director of the Virginia Board of Pharmacy. The abuse of prescription drugs is extremely prevalent, to the extent that our country is currently facing an epidemic involving prescription drug abuse. This epidemic is present in every state and affects everyone, regardless of race, gender, education, or income. I would like to share with you a video produced for the National Association of Boards of Pharmacy by the Anti-Diversion Industry Working Group. It's intended to bring an awareness of prescription drug abuse and help pharmacists and pharmacy technicians identify potential signs of prescription drug abuse and diversion. Many pharmacists and pharmacy technicians will be familiar with some of the red flags discussed in the video. We hope you will take the next few minutes to watch and learn more about the possible signs of prescription drug abuse and diversion, which may be occurring at your pharmacy. Thank you.
I'd usually look for a time of day when there were lots of people at the drug counter. That way the pharmacist would be in a hurry and maybe not notice that my oxy script was for that many pills.
I always try to keep the story straight in my head. So when the pharmacist asks about the large quantity, I say, well, my mom, she has severe rheumatoid arthritis.
Look, actually my age is an advantage. I mean, who's gonna suspect anything when a grandfather shows up with a prescription from a pain clinic?
There is a critical moment in the interaction between pharmacist and patient in which a decision must be made. Does this prescription pass the truth test? Are there warning signs that flag this person as a potential abuser or diverter? In that moment of truth, we must evaluate the evidence in front of us, because it's not always who you think. Opioid abuse is a nationwide epidemic. Every 19 minutes, someone dies from an unintentional drug overdose. And when it comes to overdose deaths caused by prescription drugs, nearly 3 out of 4 are caused by painkillers. The number of deaths involving opioids now outnumbers those from cocaine and heroin combined. Regulations from federal agencies and state pharmacy boards indicate that a pharmacist has a corresponding responsibility to that of the prescriber to ensure that a prescription being filled is one for a legitimate medical purpose. Red flags identified by these regulatory agencies are circumstances surrounding the presentation of a controlled substance prescription that should raise a reasonable suspicion to the pharmacist about the validity of that prescription. How can we know when we're face to face with a prescription drug abuser or diverter? Some red flag behaviors are easy to spot. Others can be less apparent. Here, a pharmacist is faced with a group carrying prescriptions for the same drug.
Hi, how can I help you?
Another oxycodone, 30 milligram, quantity of 180, from that pain clinic in Platteville.
So, you're a patient of Dr. Sebastian's. I want to be sure to explain the proper dosing to you. Can you tell me what you're being treated for?
Migraine.
Give me a minute.
I better look closely at these two. This pain clinic might be a pill mill.
You two live together. Are you related?
I'm his aunt.
So you've got a prescription for 120 oxycodone, 15 milligrams, and another for amoxicillin, 250 milligrams from Dr. Sebastian. He's got that clinic out in Platteville, right?
Platteville's about 120 miles from here.
I see we've got your insurance on file. Will this be paid using your prescription insurance card?
I'll use the insurance card for the amoxicillin, but I'll be paying cash for the oxycodone.
Give me a minute.
For every unintentional overdose death from opioids in 2010, there were 733 non-medical users Emergency room visits resulting from pharmaceutical abuse, with no other type of drug or alcohol involved, almost doubled between 2004 and 2010. Pharmacists can prevent diversion of controlled substances by recognizing red flag behaviors. These include similar or identical prescriptions being written for the same controlled substances regardless of patient factors like weight or age, customers presenting in groups with the same prescription or prescriber, and prescribers or patients who are located an unusual distance from the pharmacy.
What finally got me caught was that we used to travel in a posse, so there'd be 2 or 3 of us at the drug counter, and this particular pharmacist started asking questions.
Drug addicts will often combine prescription medicines to intensify the effect. This is referred to as a drug cocktail and involves mixing an opiate with a benzodiazepine and a muscle relaxant. Addicts refer to the combination of hydrocodone, alprazolam, and carisoprodol as the trio or trinity. Often hydrocodone is replaced with oxycodone to create the cocktail ironically referred to as the Holy Trinity.
So we've got the hydrocodone, alprazolam, and carisoprodol.
Opioid, benzodiazepine, muscle relaxant. Diagnosis code is arthritis.
So you're taking these medications for arthritis, Miss Lee?
No, these are for my mom. She's getting old, I guess, and I've been helping her out a bit.
Let's see, this is from Dr. Malvina. She's, what, a gynecologist, right?
Does it make sense that a gynecologist would write for these prescriptions? I need to check the PMP on this one.
Okay, I'll be back in just a few minutes.
Hi, may I help you?
Hi. I've got this prescription, and with that, I'd like a refill on the diazepam. You should have that one in your system.
Okay, let me have a look here. This guy was in just last week with the same script, and now he's asking to get his monthly prescription of diazepam refilled, but he just got that last week, too. Mr. Alvarez, we filled a similar prescription for you last week, and you got your diazepam refilled at the same time. Back so soon?
Well, I'm going to be going out to visit my grandkids. They're on the West Coast, and I'm going to be out there for a couple of weeks. I just want to make sure that I had all my meds.
And this is a different prescriber than last week. Could Mr. Alvarez be doctor shopping? Mr. Alvarez, have you switched doctors recently? This prescription is from the Warren Pain Clinic, when last week's came from Dr. Becerra. Didn't I read somewhere that the Warren Pain Clinic is under investigation, or that arrests were made there for drug diversion?
Yeah, Becerra wasn't helping me. So I saw a commercial on TV for the pain clinic, and I tried it out.
America's biggest drug problem isn't on the streets. It's in our medicine cabinets. 70% of Americans are taking at least one prescription drug, and more than 50% are on at least 2. Among young people who abuse prescription medications, 70% get them from family or friends, often from a home medicine cabinet.
You know, I'd actually keep a logbook of the pharmacies I was visiting, just because there were so many of them I'd hit during the week. It was hard to keep track.
More Americans abuse prescription drugs than the number of cocaine, hallucinogen, methamphetamine, and heroin abusers combined. The pharmacist is the last line of defense against abuse. Problem prescriptions can often be identified by using common sense, practicing good pharmacy, and looking for red flags that suggest the prescription may not be legitimate. Here, the pharmacist notes some unusual behaviors from the prescription holder.
This young lady seems nervous. Her pupils are like pinpoints. I wonder if she's high. Hello, how can I help you today?
I need to fill this prescription for Xannies.
Xannies. So your doctor prescribed alprazolam for you. Have you been having a lot of anxiety lately?
Yeah, you know, I hate my job, my boyfriend's really nasty. I don't know, I just need a little something.
Let me take a look here. It says here that another doctor prescribed hydrocodone for you.
Yeah, the stress really gives me headaches,
PMP shows she could be a doctor shopper.
1 in 4 teens reports having misused a prescription drug at least once. That translates to 5 million teenagers, a 33% increase over the past 5 years. By recognizing red flags to help establish the validity of a prescription, the pharmacist becomes the last line of defense in preventing this abuse. Look for unusual behavior, like the use of street slang, and check for multiple prescribers.
You know how sometimes you have to hit bottom? Well, I've been straight for a while now. I guess you might say I owe my life to that pharmacist for being so careful and for refusing to fill that prescription I brought in.
"21 CFR, Section 1306.04a of the DEA regulations and many state pharmacy board regulations maintain that a pharmacist has a corresponding responsibility to that of the prescriber to ensure that a prescription being filled has a legitimate medical purpose. Who is responsible? Yes, it's the culture. Yes, it's the doctor or prescriber. Yes, it's law enforcement. Yes, it's the state boards. But you, the pharmacist, have a corresponding responsibility. You play a critical role. When you are in that moment of truth, will you recognize and act upon the red flag?